are you guys doing? I'm trying to get that camera settled so I don't have to mess with it a whole bunch tonight. How are you? I have been so busy today, you guys. You have no idea. It always takes so much for us to go out of town. And I love going out of town. Like, when we finally, like, get through the gate, the airport, or on the road if we're taking a road trip. But, like, if we finally get through the gate, you know, and then we're just sitting there and getting our coffee at Starbucks, or, you know, waiting for the plane to board or whatever. Like, I'm always so just relieved. Like, I'm like, oh, like I can exhale, because there's so much that I have to do before we leave. And today has been crazy. I was trying to get some last minute writing done, and then I had to call in PP's medication and get his medication so that he had medication for the trip and after. I always just make sure that they have a bunch of extra. And then I had to go pick it up at Costco. I almost missed, like, they were open till 7 and I got there at like 20 till 7. And then I had to make sure I had enough medicine, my epilepsy medicine, to go. And then Alex had to pack tonight because he gets home late tomorrow night. He has like meeting or something to do late tomorrow night, so he doesn't get off till like 8 or 8:30, I think. And he doesn't want to do it tomorrow night because he'll come home and sleep. I can never sleep the night before a trip, and I don't want to be exhausted going to Vegas, but I just already know I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping tomorrow night. And then I went and got Tanya, and we hung out for a little bit. And I had, you know, filmed a bunch of videos today. I need to, like, sit down tomorrow. My plan is, I'm gonna have to just, like, bump out a crazy amount of videos tomorrow. My plan is to take the dogs to the kennel late in the afternoon. I already gave Tanya all their food, so she's got it in the back of her van to take, or her truck to take into the kennel tomorrow. I bought their food today. $90 worth of food for them, because they each have to have their own little food thing every morning and every evening. So much. But I'll make sure that they have all their little stuff. Then I have to get all their stuffed animals together and little blankets for them. I have all of PP's medication all, like, sectioned off into each day and ready to go. And then Alex and I were, like, downloading movies tonight so we can watch them on the plane. But a bunch of movies come out tomorrow too. And then what else? I've got a bunch of laundry I have to do tomorrow. I really just wanted to kind of be able to relax tomorrow before I left and just be able to, like, make videos and just enjoy that. I've got all the Peterisms videos made and ready to go up for the week, and I wanted to get a bunch of BookTube videos up too, but I didn't want to do, like, 6 back-to-back tag videos on BookTube, so I wanted to kind of come up with some different ideas. So I'm going to think about that tonight. About what I want to put in my videos tomorrow for my BookTube videos. So Alex is completely packed. He is completely ready. The only thing he hasn't packed is his shoes. And I haven't started packing at all. Not one bit. Oh, I have my glasses on tonight. Did I say that already? I just want to take my contacts out. It's 72, but it feels a lot warmer than that. I kind of want to take these string bracelets off for Vegas, but I don't want to lose them. So I'm going to try to see if I can get them off when I get there. But, like, I kind of want to wear them too, so I don't... Isn't that silly? My string bracelets. I mean, it's 2 pieces of string. It's not like people even notice it, but... So, yeah. I gotta go. Oh, tomorrow I want to pick up a book to take with me. and I'm listening to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets right now. I thought I would have it done in time before we left, but I don't think that I'm going to get it done in time, which is totally fine. I typically listen to an audiobook like on the way there and on the way home. I don't typically listen to it like while we're there, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't just like sit in the room and listen to an audiobook, you know? And so I don't plan on doing that. It's interesting being like doing YouTube now and traveling, because I have to make sure that I have like all of my stuff, right? So I have to make sure that I have like my computer, and I have to have my camera, and then I have to have a backup camera with me, which is that Sony Alpha camera that I used to have. I mean, it still works. So I have to have a backup. Well, the first camera doesn't work. The second camera still works, but it stops all the time and it overheats. But if I have to make a video, I can use that camera. So I have to take that camera, and then all that stuff I usually put in my backpack. And then I have to take my fan, you know, or fans for like my drama videos, and make sure that I have all that stuff. Cords, I have to have all the cords, you know, everything that I have to have to like, you know, go. And then make sure I have everything ready. Carlos's friend is staying at our house, so we were gonna see if he could take us to the airport, but I guess he can't because of work or something. So because since he's staying there, then he could just like pick us up afterwards. But so I'm trying to like clean the house, but I'll do, like, I started it today a little bit, and then I was like, I am not gonna do some like deep cleaning and dusting. It's ridiculous. I'm not gonna spend a bunch of, I mean, our house is not that dirty. He doesn't care anyway. He's hilarious, so he's not gonna care. But like, as far as like, you know, making the bed nice and having fresh towels and stuff, all other bathroom clean and things like that for him, you know. Anyway, but Alex's cousin Maya is picking us. We were trying to figure out like how we were going to get to the hotel, and we usually just Uber it like whenever we land somewhere. And I was talking to Rich Lux, and he was like, well, if you take an Uber, it's like $75. He was like, but you can get like a car, like car service, like a limo or like a big SUV. And he said it's $75 and flat rate, and then they'll stop and they'll take you like, you know, to Walgreens or CVS or something if you want to get like, you know, candy or chips or whatever for your room. I'm not big on the mini bars in the room. That shit's expensive. When we were in Miami, I did it because I was just like, screw it, it's the middle of the night, so I'll eat this little package of 6 M&Ms for $15. But I was so hungry. Do you remember that when we were in Miami and I did that? Especially when there's a little store on every corner in Miami. I felt so bad, but that's why the next day we went and got treats. So Maya's gonna pick us up, and we're actually going to like just go to, which is really nice, Alex's cousin Maya. I don't know if she's ever been in my, this is like Alex's closest cousin, Maya. They lived together for a long time. So Alex's Aunt Jackie, that's been in a lot of my videos, that's his, and Ed is her husband. That's Maya's mom. And then Jackie and Alex's mom are sisters. And then their brother, their baby brother, is Juan. And that's Nina's dad. So Alex and Maya are like really, really close. They were like 2 years apart in high school, so they went to high school together and stuff. And Rich Lux, he's so funny. He just texted me. He's like, Philip DeFranco made a story on Laura Lee. So what was I gonna say? So yeah, I'm really excited to see her. She came down to Miami a couple years ago. She's really, really into the electronic dance music scene. And in fact, when she was at Coachella, I can't remember, I think it was Tiesto. There was a video of a girl dancing, and it was just one girl, and she was like shadowed and stuff like that, and then she came around, you could see her face. It was the video that they showed like for an entire song for Tiesto sets at Coachella, and it was Maya. And she's like real involved in the scene, and she like dances for like DJ acts. If you've ever been to like Ultra Music Festival, well, I mean, if you've ever been to a music festival, a lot of the DJs have dancers on stage that dance to the music. Like Maya does that. She's very involved in the electronic dance music scene, and her, so of course, you know, like that's her and Alex's like thing. And she's really good friends with a lot of DJs, like major DJs, and she was like really good friends with the people like Insomniac that put together Electronic Daisy Carnival. That's originally why she moved to Las Vegas, and she goes back and forth between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. She was here for Christmas last year. Maybe she was in the vlog last year for Christmas, I can't remember. But I'm super excited to see her, and she's picking us up at the airport, which is really nice because we get in super early. And it'll be good to see her. And then that Saturday night, we're going to see Cascade with her. And then we're going to also try to see Nora En Pure, who's like one of my favorite DJs, if not my favorite DJ. I got this Gatorade with Tanya like 3 hours ago, and it's warm, and it's really not bad for being warm Gatorade. So anyway, that's the getting ready trip for Las Vegas. You would think I'd have like packing and all this stuff kind of down to a science now, but I don't. Tonight I actually made a list of like what I need for the trip because I don't want to overpack. I hate that I always overpack and then I don't wear half of what I take because I like to have options. See? Do you like to have options when you pack? My dad back in the day was like such a fantastic, I don't know if he still is, but he was like such a fantastic packer. We would go and my dad would literally take, like he would wear jeans on the plane, and he would wear like a button-down collared shirt with like a sport coat. And then he would wear like, Sperry's, like, you know. And my dad wore Sperry's long before Sperry's were popular because, you know, boat stuff. And then he would take like a pair or two of shorts, like a nice pair of shorts, and then a pair of like khaki like hiking shorts, and then a bathing suit, one bathing suit, and then like another button-down collared shirt, usually like a denim shirt to wear with like khaki shorts, and then like maybe a pair of khakis, and that was like it. Like he didn't take anything, like 2 t-shirts. My dad always buys t-shirts wherever we would go, so no matter where we were, like he would buy t-shirts, and he always like, you know, like there's this, it's very trendy now to like, if you go on vacation, to buy t-shirts at kind of like really non-touristy places. So if you go to like St. Lucia or something, you go there and you like buy a t-shirt at like some little bar on the side of the road. Well, my dad did that like when I was a kid. So he had all these t-shirts, you know, from all over the world because like when he would go places, he'd just buy t-shirts there, you know. He has the coolest collection of t-shirts. I asked him a couple years ago, I was like, can I have some of your t-shirts? He's like, you can have all of them if you want. He goes, you won't fit into any of them. I was like, I cannot believe you just said that to me. He's like, well, he was like, you've gained a lot of weight. He was like, you know, there was a time that we were about the same size. My dad is like muscular and bigger. And he was like, but Peter, he goes, when I was wearing those shirts, I was a medium, you know, in a t-shirt. And he goes, I was like a 32 waist. My dad was like a marathon runner for a long time, and was like, I mean, he's still in good shape, but he was like, I mean, he's 78, so he's in good shape for 78, but when my dad was my age, he was like in phenomenal shape, like phenomenal. He and my stepmom both used to run marathons, and she's had so many operations and stuff on her knee. She's had a lot of problems with her knee as a result of her running. I feel bad for her. Get the last bit of Gatorade out of there. I really, really like this almond lip balm from Sephora. And I have to tell you, it's been sitting in my car since Saturday night. And it hasn't melted at all, which is crazy. It's $12, it's almond, which I think is kind of fun because it's like a different one. It's very, like, it's like a matte. But it kind of comes off a little bit. If I put like lip plumper over it, like it's not bad, like it stays on. But like if I just use the lip balm, like it comes off real easy. I like the keels, but they melt in my car and they're just like so greasy. I actually cleaned my car out a little bit the other day. I wanted to talk on here tonight about, you know, like meeting Alex and my wedding and stuff like that. I thought I would tell the whole story of it since we're getting ready to go. And tomorrow I'm going to try to film my vlog early in the day so that I can have it up. So after I film my last video, I'm going to try to like have it up and ready to go. But it's so weird, you know, like I was thinking about this. 10 years is a long time, you guys, to be with somebody. It's like, it's crazy. And when I think about all the times that I like, we got into some fights early on that I thought we're not gonna be together, you know, like, I mean, really, like, we've never physically ever been in a fight, ever. The closest that we got to it was one night. This is so silly. We were coming home from going out, and the argument was that our friend had said something, and Alex got snippy with him. And in the car on the way home, I said, you didn't even hear what he said, so you didn't need to respond that way. And he goes, I heard what I heard, and I know what he said. Well, we had just gone through Taco Bell, and he was holding my Taco Bell, like he hadn't gotten any Taco Bell because he wanted me to take him through somewhere else. I can't remember where he wanted me to take him through, but he was like, I don't want Taco Bell, take me through here. And I was like, okay, so I got Taco Bell, and he's holding my Taco Bell, and I literally had my window up like this. I mean, it was like, can you see? It was like this much, right? But Alex thought my window was down all the way. And so, this was in my old car. This was in my Ford Explorer. And it was like cream inside, like the leather, or not the, but like the, whatever this material is, down here, this plastic, was like cream colored. And that's important, I'm gonna tell you why. So I got like nachos Bel Grande stuff. And Alex is like, I heard what I heard, I know what I heard. And I go, well, you didn't hear him, right? I go, that's not what Demi said. It was our friend Demi. And Demi used to feel bad because he always felt like he was a third wheel with us. Demi lives in New York now. I know he doesn't watch my vlogs, but hey, Demi, if you're in New York City and you know Demetrius, tell him I said, Demetrius from Indianapolis, tell him I said hi, and Monty's waiting for him. He used to stay over at our house all the time, and he'd sleep on the couch. And I had these little stuffed animals that were up in the bookshelf. I had got them like at this bookstore, and they were these like hilarious like stuffed animals, and Demi called one of them Monty, and he would sleep with it. And so I used to send him pictures of Monty, like the elf on the shelf, and I would send him pictures of Monty like all over the house. See, this is what I do. Like I go like that to push it down, and then I end up, I'm trying to be very careful, and then I end up shutting it off. Okay, so I would take pictures of Monty, and I would be like, Monty under the covers, and I'd be like, Monty, and I would text it to him, and I'd be like, when he moved to New York, I'd be like, Monty won't even come out of bed since you left, he misses you so much, and all this kind of stuff. It was hilarious, like, this whole, like, backstory of their, like, lost love affair, he and Monty. So anyway, Demi was our, like, die-hard Good Judy, like, I mean, still is, but we don't get to see him very often because he doesn't come home very often, and we don't go to New York very often. But anyway, oh my God, we had some good times. Oh my God, I'll have to tell you this story about when we went to Chicago for Demi's birthday. So anyway, that's what the story I'll tell next, and then I'll tell about, I mean, some of the shit that I went through early on in this relationship is like, in retrospect, I'm kind of like, oh my God. So anyway, I had the window up like this. I'll just tell that story first. Alex and Demi had gotten into a fight. Okay, this is Alex's closest friend at the time, right? And like, Demi had said something, like they kind of got into it. Like they would always dance on the box at the gay bar. And they were like on the box. Well, I was standing below it and I could hear what they were saying. I don't even remember what it was about, but Alex said something and then Demi said something back and then Alex was like, you know, fuck you or something, and like we left, okay, in the middle of all this. And so we got in the car and I said to Alex, I go, you didn't even hear what he said. He goes, I heard what I heard. And I go, well, you heard him wrong like that. And he goes, oh, I did? And he goes, well, you know what else I don't, he goes something like, you know what else I don't hear right? The rattling of Taco Bell. And he took it and he whipped it out my window. Well, my window was this much open, okay? Like it wasn't open. And so it hits up here and goes down like this. And the Nacho Bel Grandes, like they come all over and it just slid down. I mean, it was like the lid flew off. I don't know how it worked because it was inside of a bag. And he threw the bag, he didn't throw the food. But like, and he thought the window was open and it like slid down. And like, I mean to tell you, when I sold that car, like it was still in the crevices of it, okay? I could not get it out. And I looked at him and I was so mad and I go, this is when you know a true fatty, right? See? I can't touch this thing. I said I wasn't gonna do it anymore. But anyway, so, oh well, it just means I can talk longer now. I don't have to stop it at 24 minutes. So anyway, I probably was close to that anyway. Does anybody know? What time is it? But, so, I looked at Alex and I go, no, I have to go back through Taco Bell. And he goes, nuh-uh. He goes, you can take me home. He goes, but, I'm not going back through Taco Bell. Oh, I know where I was taking him, to Hot Box Pizza. He had gotten a pizza, and so I had to take him to get his pizza. To this day, if Alex was sitting right here, he would say, I don't feel bad about that at all. A lot I feel bad about, but I don't feel bad about that because I heard what I heard. He still to this day thinks he heard what he heard. And what's so funny is, have you ever had friends like this? Like 2 days later, we were like hanging out with Demi, and I said, Demi, tell him that he heard you wrong. And Demi goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, explain the situation. And he goes, oh no, he heard me right. And they were like siding against me. I was like, you fuckers. So I was gonna talk on here, like I said, about like Alex and I, because it's like the week of our anniversary, you know? And it's so weird, like, no, I'm not crying, I'm thinking. 10 years ago today, I flew back from Denver, Colorado. The date, not the day. Alex and I, the 25th, I actually was going to look and see. I really want to do this because I keep on thinking, I'll put one here somewhere, but I'm almost positive the 25th that year was on a Monday. I think our date was on, I'm almost positive it was on a Monday. And, if it wasn't a Monday, it was a Wednesday, but I'm almost positive it was a Monday. And I talked about this on my Peterisms video today, but I kind of wanted to talk about it more at length. Okay, so this is what happened. So Alex and I, like I had seen Alex out a lot. Like I had seen him, I mean, for me, I don't know what people think, but I find my husband very attractive. And I would see him out, and I'd be like, I wonder who this guy is, and blah, 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 whatever, you know? And, so I kind of like, you know, kept an eye on him a little bit and stuff when we would, you know, my friends and I would go out. And I was out one night with my friend, and we went out because she wanted to say happy birthday to a friend of hers that I did not know that worked at this bar that we used to go to, Talbot Street. And so we were there, and Alex, like the guy was working there, and so he came out on his break for like a half an hour and like sat at this table with him, like Alex and their friends, because they were like all friends, like Alex was friends with all the people that like worked at this bar and stuff. And so, like, he came out and like Alex goes, oh no, you're not gonna get away without birthday spanks. And he started like giving this guy birthday spanks like right in front of us. We were like a group of us standing there, and Alex was like 1, 2, and there was something about it. I mean, like when he enters a room, Alex kind of like, you like notice him, you know? And I just was like, who is this guy? Like I keep on seeing him, and who is he and stuff, you know? And I would see him like, if I was on the dance floor, I would see him because he was always dancing on boxes, and you know, he was just there. Like there's a presence about him, you know? And so anyway, a couple of days later, I was on MySpace. I didn't have Facebook yet, I don't think. And I was on MySpace, and I was like looking at some other friends, and his picture came up. I could still see the picture in my head, what it was. And so I like, I was like, you know what? Like, you are 36 years old, dude. Ask somebody out. Because I did not like asking people out. Like, I had like no confidence, you know, that kind of stuff. Which is interesting in retrospect, because all 3 of my long-term relationships, I asked them out first. I don't know how I got that confidence in that moment, but I did. And so I sent him a message on MySpace, and I said, I find you very attractive, you have kind eyes, and I would like to take you out on a date. And he responded and said, thank you. I'm not a kind person, and I'm still interested in my ex. I was like, oh, okay. And I said, okay, well, you know, let me know if anything ever changes. So anyway, and it's kind of been a running joke with us between the years, because he's a very kind person, and it was just his way of being sarcastic and funny. So anyway, I was in Denver a lot that summer because, well, I actually messaged him like in, I think that was right before my mom passed away. I think it was in April. And then I kind of, you know, all that happened. And then I was in Denver a lot visiting my friend Paul. And so, and I had decided that I was going to move to Denver. But you know, like when somebody kind of shuts you down and you're like not interested anymore, it's like you just, so I mean, he kind of was off my radar at that point, honestly. Like I didn't really think much more about him. I can remember asking my friend, because she was friends with these people that he was friends with, if she knew his ex, and she did. And I'd be like, well, who is he? Point him out to me. And she pointed him out to me finally. And then like, I can remember being like, well, why did he pick him over me? You know, like he didn't even know me. He didn't even know me, you know? And it's so funny because like, we run into we never run into my ex, I don't know why, but we run into his ex every once in a while, and he's just like a super nice guy, and I mean, he's the one that got Alex, you know, PP, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have PP, and so, he's just a really, really awesome guy. But anyway, the last time I saw him, well, that's not true. We saw him at a restaurant that we went to not too long ago that he was working there. But I had seen him before. The last time was at Walmart, and he and I stood there and talked for like 45 minutes. But anyway, so that summer kind of went by, and I kind of was like, well, you know, if he's interested in his ex, I'm not going to get in the middle of all that. That's not who I am, you know? And, so I was going out, and I was visiting my friend in Denver, and I made a decision that I was going to move out there. I was like, I need some change in my life. And, you know, when you go through something tragic, like the loss of a parent, you know, my dad, a lot of his changes that he made in his life coincided with his dad dying. And I really think to some degree, similarly, it happened to me with my mom, that I just wanted to make some, like, I really realized the brevity of life, and I was like, if you don't start making some changes or move, you're going to be in Indianapolis for the rest of your life. And it's not that I have any issues with Indianapolis. I like Indianapolis. I like small town life. You know, it's why we're always going to have a place here. It's home to us, you know? But I was like, if you're going to start doing some things and taking some risks and getting to know some new people, it's time to move, you know? It's time to do some different things. And so, I had decided that I was going to move out there. He and I looked at some places for me. We didn't look at some places. We looked at some areas out there for me. I liked an area called Lodo. And, you know, I kind of reached out to some people that I knew that worked in, like, you know, residential treatment programs. I was thinking about doing that, but I really didn't want to go back to doing that again. And I looked at some other kind of creative ventures and stuff like that. Well, I had kind of like started putting things together to move out there, and it was like a done deal. Like I came back from Denver. I said I wasn't going to touch this anymore, and it keeps on driving me crazy. So I came back from Denver, and I was ready just to hit it and move. And Alex had messaged me, I would say, it was like 2 or 3 weeks before that, and he had said, when are you still taking me on that date? And I messaged him back and I said, so I guess you're over your boyfriend? And he was like, yeah. So, and then we exchanged numbers and we talked. And I remember, like, we talked on the phone, but we didn't talk for, like, a long time. And I thought it was weird. Like, well, that was, like, 3 weeks before that we had talked on the phone, because we had scheduled 2 dates before I went out to Denver the last time, and I canceled both of those dates. I just wasn't really that interested, you know? And I remember talking to him on the phone, and I thought, like, I don't know, like, my ex and I, when we talked on the phone for the very first time, like, we talked on the phone for, like, 4 hours, and it just seemed like kismet, you know? But, like, Alex and I, the first time that we were talking on the phone, it wasn't that at all. It was like, oh, so what do you do? And this is what I do, and okay, you want to go on a date? Sure, let's go on a date. I mean, it was like 20-minute conversation. And I just was like, this is not gonna happen. Like, we're not gonna click. Why am I wasting my time? And so I canceled the date twice. Well, each time that I canceled the date, Alex would say, okay, well, what, like, I would cancel it, and then he would say, well, which time works better for you? And I was like, oh, he's not gonna let me out of this. I just didn't think that he really cared that deep to want to go on a date, right? And Alex was actively dating. Like, that's something that I've always struggled with, is that, like, not with him, but, like, just in general. Like, I'm not somebody that can date 2 and 3 people at the same time. Like, I'm just not a good dater. Like, I date somebody, I go on a date with somebody, and if I like them, I continue to pursue it, and if I don't, then there's no reason for me to go on a second date. That's how I feel about things. I very rarely in the past have gone on a date where it's, like, questionable, like, should I or shouldn't I? Have I spent time hanging out with somebody? Sure, because I didn't want to be lonely and stuff, but I knew the whole time that, like, you know, and I was honest. I was like, you know, I'm not really thinking that this is going to turn into a relationship, but if you want to hang out, you know, we can do that. So anyway, I got back from Denver, and I was ready just to, like, pack my shit up and hit it, you know? I was, like, that ready. I remember talking to my cousin Caroline on the phone, and she was like, are you seriously moving? I said, yes, and soon. And my dad was like, hey, I'm so proud of you. Like, you know, do what you gotta do. I can support you. You're, like, a 3-hour flight away. He was like, we can see each other or something. But my dad was completely supportive of me moving if I wanted to move. And, he was like, it sounds to me like you got everything settled, blah, 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 you know, whatever. So, my cousin Caroline, I can remember talking to her, and she's like, are you really moving? And I was like, yeah, I'm moving. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I just felt like the only person I had in my life was Tanya. Like, I didn't have anybody, you know, like, here. I just didn't. I mean, I had a few friends, but they were getting involved with other people and dating and getting in serious relationships. That had happened over the summer, and the people that I was going out with weren't really going out anymore, and I was single, and I was lonely, and I was coming home every night, and I was, you know, watching movies and sitting by myself. I was lonely, and so, so I called my friend, because I was supposed to go on the date, and I called him, like, either the night before or the day of, I can't remember, and I said, I don't want to go on this date, and he was like, why not? And I said, this is my friend Paul, and I said, I just don't. It's like, what's the point? I'm coming out there anyway. And he was like, look, I was like, why start something, you know, that if it goes well, then he goes, look, you either go on the date and you have fun and you meet somebody new and it's just like one date. He's like, or you make a friend. What's like the big deal over that? And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so we had planned for me to, like, Alex was finishing up college at the time, so we had planned for me to go down there and pick him up from, like, not from school, but he had a friend of his that lived downtown, and this is his friend Luce. We've talked about her before in videos. So anyway, so I was gonna pick him up from her condo. So I went down there and I was like parked on the other side of the street, and I was like waiting for him to come out. I think I texted him, was like, I'm here or something, and he came out, and I'll never forget, he had on this, like, well, he still carries his bag. This is like his carry-on bag, this like red Abercrombie bag that he had, and he like carried it. He was like coming across the street and had this like blue polo shirt on and like jeans, and he used to always wear like driving moccasins. And I remember, and he was really tan because it was the summer, and I like looked at him and I was like, and he like turned and looked at me like right there, and he was like, and I was like, I am so fucked. Like, I just instantly knew it. Like, I had not had butterflies for anybody in such a long time. And I mean, I had dated a little bit that year, you know, but like nobody that I was interested at all. And I'll never forget, I just was like, oh my God. like, what is going on here? Like, I just was like, kind of had this like weird feeling that I knew something was going to happen, you know? And, so we got in the car, and, you know, I wasn't real hopeful about the date because we had talked on the phone, and I knew that, you know, our lives were very different, and he was in college, and I was kind of like ready to move, and I was kind of at a different stage in my career. I was thinking about like, how do I start retiring is what I was really wanting to do, because I'd always dreamed of retiring early. And, you know, we were at completely two different stages, and I just was really, you know, whatever. And so he got in the car, and I mean to tell you, from the point that he got in the car, and this was really weird too. Like, when he got right in the car, he took my hand. Alex is like a big hand holder. He like took my hand, and he looked at me, and he was like, I'm really excited about this day. Like, right from the get-go, I was like, okay, this is, like, he's so comfortable in his own skin. He's always been like that. And, I mean, we didn't hold hands the rest of the way. He just kind of took it for a second. And, what's funny is, Alex had a date the next night planned with somebody else that he had kind of been talking about to a little bit, and then he canceled the date because our date went so well. So anyway, which I probably should feel bad about, but I don't. Anyway, so I said, where do you want to go to dinner? And he was like, I don't care. And I was like, no, we'll pick anywhere, I don't care. And he was like, well, what are you hungry for? And I said, I'm kind of like hungry for Italian. And he was like, let's go to Bravo. I used to, you know, go there all the time. I used to work there. He used to work at Bravo. So I was like, okay, it's like this chain restaurant. So, we went to Bravo, and I can see, I mean, I remember the exact booth that we sat in and everything. And we sat there, and I had like, before we went on this date, and I was like, it's like pouring down lightning, thunder, and everything right now. But I was like in really good shape back then too. I was like 180 pounds. I was like working out every day. I was running every day. I was like a hardcore vegetarian at that time. And, I mean, I'm a vegetarian now, but I was like hardcore back then. And, I was like 180 pounds, and I was like in shape. And so I remember like I just wore like jeans, like these like faded jeans, and like a western shirt, like with the pearl buttons on it, and like just some flip-flops, like leather flip-flops. And I just was like, it was like the most relaxed I'd ever been going on a date. I just was like so relaxed. I was like, anyway, and we went on this date, and I remember we just sat there, and we both ordered food and stuff, and we like hardly even ate that night. Like, that's the thing that Alex always remembers about it. He's like, I just remember we didn't even really eat. And I remember at the end, it was funny, because Alex, like, I had never been like a big take home person. Like, if I just didn't finish my meal, I just usually left it. But Alex like ate like exactly half of his meal, and he got lasagna, and I got pasta. Well, every time I turn the camera around, I stop it, because it's touchscreen. That's what I've been doing, I just realized. Do you see this? Now I know why the camera stops. Because when it's touchscreen, you guys, which is fantastic. I love that, but I apologize for it. So now that I know what not to do, I'll try not to do that. But anyway, Alex got lasagna, and I got pasta woozy, which is fettuccine alfredo, but it has like spinach in it, and then I got it without chicken. I remember that because that is what we always get when we go there, and we've been there a lot since. We used to go there in the early days before we started, like, now we always go on a trip for an anniversary, but, you know, that was when we were poorly and didn't have any money. So we would always go to Bravo for our anniversary. Anniversaries have always been big for us, you know, like, I think it's important to celebrate anniversaries. I think it's important to acknowledge a celebration of a relationship, you know? So anyway, I remember at the end of the meal, he like had eaten exactly half of his lasagna, and he like asked for a box, and then he put like a breadstick in the box, or a piece of bread in the box, and then like closed it, like it was like perfect. And I said something, he goes, this is my lunch tomorrow. Okay, to this day, true story, to this day, if we go out to eat, very rarely does my husband ever eat the entire meal. Which is probably why he stays thin, or thinner. He eats half of the meal and takes the rest home and uses it for lunch the next day. If every time we go out to dinner, the very next, I mean, this was, like, he does this all the time. So, it cracks me up now. Anyway, if you have a Maggiano's in your town, let me just tell you, my husband loves that restaurant because it's buy one, get one. So, whatever you order, they give you one to take home. And my husband loves that because then he can get like a huge thing. He loves spaghetti and meatballs. So he'll get this huge, or spaghetti and meat sauce. So he'll get this huge thing of spaghetti and meatballs or spaghetti and meat sauce. And then he'll like get one to take home with him, and he loves it because he can eat it the next day. Half for lunch and half for dinner. Isn't that funny? So anyway, and then after that, we went, and it must not have been too late. It must have been early. I mean, it was daytime when I picked him up, so it couldn't have been too late. And I really kind of just remember thinking that I thought the day would end early. And did you guys hear this rain? It is crazy. So I was like, well, things were going really well, and I was like, what do you want to do? And I thought he was going to say, you know, you can take me home if you want. And he was like, well, we could go back to your place if you want. And I go, okay. I said, well, let me roll through Starbucks. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. And so I went through Starbucks and I got a cup of coffee. And we like drove around for a little bit and talked. And then we came back to the house, the condo. And we sat there, and we have completely different furniture now, except for the dining room table, than we had then, or than I had then. And we had this, like, I had this like burgundy couch, and it like faced the fireplace. And I remember sitting there, and of course I like lit a bunch of candles because I wanted to be very romantic, you know. And we turned on some music, and I remember we sat there and we like literally talked for hours, like about the most random shit. And it was just crazy, you know. And then we got intimate, and I have been intimate on my first dates with every person that I've ever been on in a long-term relationship with, and it's never stopped or affected the relationship at all. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I wait 3 weeks before kissing or whatever. I mean, I didn't. I can hardly even see. I didn't even know we were supposed to have rain tonight. Boo Radley was climbing all over me, going crazy. I said in my Peterson's video today, did I take him home that night? I was just thinking to myself, I think he stayed the night and I took him home the next morning, but I don't think that's true. I think I took him home that night because he was living in his mom's house at that time. I think he had just moved back from Bloomington, and like that transferred from like IU Bloomington to up here. And so he was living with his mom at that time. His friend Sarah, that is like moving back here, that he's going to Nashville with and stuff, like that's her last stop on the trip. He lived with her in Bloomington and like 2 other girls. And so anyway, I think she was moving like out. She was moving out of Bloomington and coming up to Indianapolis, and that's why he did too. And so he transferred because he wasn't done yet, and she was done with school. I think she graduated and stayed in Bloomington like another year, and then she was moving back up to Indianapolis. And so when she moved, he moved. And so he was living with his mom. I'm almost positive I took him to his mom's house that night. I'd have to ask him. He has a better memory about some of that stuff than I do. But anyway, and then I remember the next day I picked him up. He had a date the next night, and he canceled. He told me right away. He's like, I have a date tomorrow night. So he's like, if you think that you want to continue to hang out with me, we can do that. And he was like, or I can go on this date. It's totally up to you. And I said, why don't you cancel that date? And the next night I picked him up and from work, and we have been together 10 years. So, you know, it's crazy. And I think about, you know, he would stay at the house. Well, at that time, I was going back and forth between my apartment and the condo. We met, you know, we started dating in August, and I don't think I got out of that. I think I was in that lease until October. So I would go back and forth, as I was trying to get rid of a lot of my stuff. And then he would stay like 3 or 4 nights a week. And, I feel like it was like that winter that he moved in permanently. Like late winter. No, that's not true. He was at his mom's house for a long time. Like, I think maybe... Well, our birthdays are in June, and by the time that it was his birthday, we were living together. 2008, yeah, because his birthday in 2009, I proposed to him. And I wrote this poem, and it was back and forth in Spanish and English. And I got down on one knee one night. We were getting ready to go out. It was like the Friday night before his birthday, and we were getting ready to go out. And he had seen these rings that this friend of his had that he worked with that were from Tiffany's. If you've ever seen Alex's ring, it's the bigger ring. I can't fit into mine right now. The last time I was able to fit into it was 218 pounds. So, and people are like, get it sized. I don't want to get sized bigger because you guys know I want to lose weight. So I know that maybe that's ridiculous, but that's how I feel about it. That's why I don't wear my rings, because then we have a wedding band that Alex bought from Tiffany's and had engraved. And I don't want to get them sized because I don't know. It's a piss-ass excuse, but I want to be able to lose weight and fit into them at some point. That'll be an accomplishment for me if I can do that, so that means something to me. But anyway, so I proposed to him the Friday before his birthday, that June of 2009. So we had been together almost like 11 months, and I proposed to him. And oh my God, he was so excited, and I was so excited, and we went out, and he's like telling everybody and texting everybody, and we just had a great time out that night. It was so much fun, and that whole summer was so much fun, and it's real easy for us to pick a date for our wedding, because Alex said, I know how you are, and you like to celebrate every little holiday, birthday, whatever. He said, so we're just gonna get married on our anniversary. That way we don't have to have our anniversary of when we met and the anniversary of our wedding. So we're gonna get married on the same day. And I said, that's actually a really good idea. So we decided August 25th, so that was the date of our first date. And then, so he wanted these rings. So I went to Tiffany's and I got these rings. Our engagement rings were like not expensive whatsoever. Like they're really cool rings because it's like metal that's like all like whatever, but they were not expensive at all. He gets so many compliments on it. I did too when I wore mine. Mine is still in perfect condition. So, but I can't remember how much they were, but they weren't super expensive. I think the bands that he got were like twice as much as the engagement rings. So anyway, we decided to get married August 25th of 2010, a year later. You have to remember, like, we just didn't have a lot of money at that time, we didn't, I mean, we both made very, very little at that time, and we were like, okay, how are we gonna do this? What do we want to do? Do we want to have like a backyard wedding? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? And we both we had gone to Las Vegas in November, right after we had started dating, and so we had like 4 days, like the week of Thanksgiving, and we had like such a fantastic time. We had so much fun. It was our first trip that we ever took together. So we were like, why don't we get married in Las Vegas? And we had some friends of ours at the time. It's so sad. They're going through a divorce right now. But we had some friends of ours that got married there, and they had like an awesome wedding. And so they knew this woman that had worked at Caesars, and they're like, you should talk to her. It was kind of weird how it all happened. They're like, you should talk to her because she's, I think she's changing hotels, but if you wanted to get married at Caesars, like, she gave us a really great rate. She's awesome. And so, like, our friends gave us her number, and I contacted this woman, and she's like, and at the same time, our friend Brittany, who married us, she was living in Las Vegas, and she had just done this huge, Brittany's a model, she had just done this huge billboard ad and magazine ad for Virgin Airlines. It was like this retro ad, and when we went to Las Vegas like for our wedding, like, we went that year too. There were all these billboards everywhere, and Brittany was all over them. I was like, this is crazy. It's crazy when you see a friend like that on that level, you know, it's like surreal. And so anyway, but she was living in Vegas, and the Cosmopolitan had just like opened, like the end of spring, I think is when maybe it opened or something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, she was like, you guys have to get married at the Cosmopolitan. It's like the most amazing hotel. It's very cool. It was supposed to be condos. All the rooms have balconies and stuff. And I was like, well, they probably don't do weddings and whatever, and they're probably way too expensive. So coincidentally, we had reached out to this woman, and she had just moved from Caesars to the Cosmopolitan. Now, how crazy is that, right? When Brittany had just told us this. Brittany had gone to the opening of the Cosmopolitan and stayed there that weekend. She's like, it's fantastic. So, my windows are fogging up, and I really do not want to turn on. You know how you combat that? You turn on heat. I really don't want to do that because it is already so hot in this car with the windows rolled up. But you have to remember I have no air conditioning right now. There it goes. I have to like do that to get rid of it. So anyway, so we called her. She's like, well, I'm not at Caesars anymore. I'm at Cosmopolitan, but we haven't done any weddings yet. Would you guys like, would you be cool with being like our first wedding? And I was like, well, sure, let me talk to Alex about it. We had looked at Mandalay Bay, the Wynn, Encore, and the Bellagio, and let me just tell you, their wedding chapels were absolutely ridiculous. They were like $3,500 for 30 minutes, and like you got a room for one night, and that was it. I mean, they were absolutely ridiculous. And so, you guys, this rain, can you hear this? You're probably like, yeah, Peter, we can't even hear you. All we can hear is the rain. Welcome to summer in Indiana. So anyway, she's like, but we can get you a great deal. It was our wedding was like so reasonable, and they like gave us a room for like 3 nights, this wraparound suite that we're gonna stay in, and their rates are still really reasonable. And they like gave us blocks of rooms for all of our friends and family that came, and they gave us flowers, they gave us pictures, everything included, and it was like, honest to God, like a fifth of the price of the other places, and it was fantastic. And when we kissed, okay, so we got married, it was very important for me to have some traditional things in my wedding. So when we kissed, or our wedding, when we kissed, we got married like we got married at 6:30, so we kissed at like 6:58, and you know, like as we're 6:59, so as we're kissing, the Bellagio fountains start going off. Okay, it was so cool. And if you actually, I have a picture somewhere, I'll have to post it, of my cousin, because she was my best woman, and Alex's friend Sarah was his best woman as well. And I mean, this is ridiculous, this rain, you guys. I'm sorry. If I could control it, I would. Such is the life of a vlogger. But as we're like kissing and they're announcing us, my cousin is like looking out the window at the fountains of the Bellagio. That side of the Cosmopolitan has a better view of the fountains than the Bellagio does itself. I would be so pissed if I was the Bellagio. I have the heat up in here to like, how hot is it? Oh my God, I have it on 85. No ma'am, it's so hot. So anyway, so we agreed to do it. Oh, I know what happened. So what happened was, we did schedule that later in the year because the Cosmopolitan would have opened the year that we got married, like 6 months before, I think. Because what happened was, by like January of 2010, which was the year that we were supposed to get married, Alex and I decided that we were gonna wait another year because we really wanted to do it the way that we wanted to do it. And we we didn't want to be pressed with money, and we didn't want it to be about money. We wanted it to be about our wedding. And so, and this was before marriage equality was legalized. That was in 2014 in Indiana, and then federally. And we got married like during that 3-day window in Indiana. So we actually, I think it's July. Alex always knows. It's like June 26th or July 20. I think it's June 26th of 2014. Because he always texts me. He's like, happy anniversary. We got married in shorts at the Justice of the Peace. We actually had another ceremony too, because they were like, do you want to have another ceremony? It's like $10. And we're like, yeah, let's have a ceremony. Let's do it. So we have pictures. I'll have to pull over somewhere and show you guys. It's cute. Because we wore matching suits at our wedding and matching ties and shoes, dress shoes, wingtips without socks. And we didn't have matching ties. That's not true. We wore the same colored suits, same colored shirts, but different ties. And so it was funny because, so Alex had Sarah and then his friend Nate and Nate's boyfriend, and then Eric, our friend that lives in Las Vegas, who was Alex's friend from college. Like, they were all there like the night before. They were all there like 2 nights before. Oh my Lord. They were all there like 2 nights before the wedding. So we had this big deal with traditions in our wedding. It was very important for us to have a lot of traditions in our wedding. And I wanted my mom represented there. So my cousin Caroline read something about my mom, and like there was a lot of things that were like, it was very spiritual at points too. And Alex was like, if you want it to be spiritual, we can have prayers. And so we had prayers in the wedding and stuff like that. It was really important to me. It was a beautiful wedding. We wrote our own vows, and people later said to us, they were like, this is like, this was the coolest wedding that we've ever seen. We got married, our wedding song was Ingrid Michaelson's You and I, and the song that we got married, that we walked out off of, I don't remember what it was. It was some dance song, and I can never remember what it is, and Alex can't either. He can always look it up and find it, because he has it downloaded, but I don't. So anyway, and before we got married, I was like in one room and he was in the other. Okay, so the night before, so he was in one room and I was in the other, and I was in there with my dad and my stepmom and my cousin, and my aunt and uncle came and everything, but we had a lot of friends there. I think we had like 30 people. I think that was the max you could have before like we doubled in price or something. And the room that we got married in was actually like 2 suites with the wall knocked down. So, and it was very simple. We had blue flowers. We wanted blue and white flowers. And it was very cool. So anyway, there was a justice of the peace there from the state of Nevada that officiated it, part of it. But then our friend Brittany was the one that listened to our vows, because she had been the first friend that we met together as a couple. And so we wanted our commitment in front of her, because it meant something to us. And yeah, so... And she's still a very dear friend of ours to this day. But anyway, so the night before we got married, Alex had his 4 friends, okay? So I had my cousin Caroline, who at the time, okay, so David, her son, is 17 right now. So at the time, 10 years ago, he was 7, okay? So she's like a full-time mom, and she's also working full-time, right? And this was like her first vacation she had in a while. She didn't even want to like hang out with my aunt and uncle while she was on this trip. She like wanted to just like enjoy her time. And so I had Caroline, and then my friend Craig was going to fly in with his boyfriend, and they were staying at the Wynn. They chose not to stay at the Cosmopolitan, so they were going to stay at the Wynn. Well, Craig and Caroline had said that they were, because like Alex was going to have like a night before kind of like bachelor party. We had a joint bachelor party in Indianapolis with a DJ at a club and everything. It was really, really fun. It was really nice. Our friends Melissa and put it together, or Melissa and Tawny put it together. And that was actually the night that we met Melissa and Jason was at our bachelor party. That was the night that we met him. That's crazy. We've known them for, oh no, 7 years. So Caroline, we got married 7 years ago. So David would have been 10 at the time. So anyway, but we met Jason and Melissa 7 years ago. This week. That's so crazy. But anyway, we had a wonderful bachelor party. It was so much fun. We danced like crazy. Oh my God, we had so much fun. So anyway, Alex had like a little bachelor party in his room, and then I was supposed to do something with Caroline and Craig. Well, Craig got in super, super late, and then they were at the Wynn. Caroline said to me at about, oh no, we went to our rehearsal dinner. Craig came in after the rehearsal dinner. Caroline, after the rehearsal dinner, because we went to this restaurant that is very much like the Cheesecake Factory. It's called Cafe de Monn. It's in the Piazza, or the Palazzo. And so, Piazza. It's in the Palazzo, like between the Palazzo and the Venetian. And so, Caroline after that was like, I'm so tired. I've been going all day long today. Do you really care? Like, I really would like to just go back, take a bath, and then like, have a glass of wine and like watch a movie. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I never pulled a bitch card, but I was like, do you guys see how it slides? I was like, are you serious? And she was like, I'm just really, really tired. And I said, girl, don't worry about it, I guess. Like, it's no big deal, And I felt bad for her, but I'm like, it's no big deal. You only get married once. This is only the night before my wedding. You know what I mean? While Alex and his friends are hooping it up in their friend's hotel room. And so I called Craig, and he had just gotten in, and it was like now like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And he was, okay, this is going to stop. I'm at 23 minutes and 22 seconds. So I'm going to stop it so I can adjust it a little bit too. I'll be right back. So Craig had just gotten in, and it was late, and they just got to the hotel room, and he's like, I am so tired. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, we need to eat something, and then we need to go to bed. And I was like, what do you mean you need to eat something and then go to bed? Like, I'm supposed to stay up late. This is like the night before my wedding, right? And he's like, oh, he was like, I can't do that. He's like, we're so tired and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. Okay. And so we went to eat, and I met him at the Wynn, and we ate at like some diner within the Wynn. It was like the only thing open there that late. And then he was like, are you sure you're not upset if I said, girl, go. I'm not going to be mad at anybody. I understand you guys are tired. They had traveled all day, and Craig hadn't worked that day. So I was like, okay. And the really sad thing is that after that, there was a hurricane on the East Coast, and Craig at the time and his now husband were living in Long Island, and they had to leave because they were worried about their house and their dogs. So they had to leave to go back to Long Island the day, like the night of my wedding. They were literally in Las Vegas for like 24 hours. So anyway, so he goes up, they go to the room, and I stayed at the Wynn, and I gambled for a little bit. And then I went back to the hotel room, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I cannot believe, I was like on the balcony, like smoking a cigarette, looking at all of Las Vegas, and I thought, I cannot believe that I am, because Alex and I had decided that we weren't going to see each other until the moment we got married. Like, that was very serious for us, okay? Now remember that I truly, truly believe, okay, that convictions and morals only mean something if you stick to them when they're inconvenient, right? So here was my inconvenient moment about traditions. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, looking over the patio of Las Vegas, and I'm like, this city is so sexy, and I am getting married tomorrow, and I am so in love with this man, and I am sitting in this fucking hotel room tonight by myself. I've already gambled. I don't want to gamble anymore. I was like, what is going on? So I texted him, and I was like, are you guys having fun? And he like calls back, and he like, they're all like hooting and hollering. He's like, oh my God, we're having so much fun. We're having so much fun. And he was like, are you having fun? I go, I'm sitting in the hotel room by myself. Caroline and Craig both went to bed early. And he goes, are you serious? And I said, yeah, I'm totally serious. I said, but I just want to check in and make sure you guys are having fun. He was like, well, I feel bad. And I was like, well, don't feel bad, whatever. And so, I sat out there, like, because on the Cosmopolitan, they have, like, these big lounge chair things. I was sitting out there, and, like, he, like, called back, and he was like, are you okay? I said, I kind of really wish that you would just come back tonight. He was like, are you serious? I go, I don't know. Like, I just don't want to be alone tonight, whatever. And he was like, okay. About an hour later, he rolls in the door, and we had a lot of fun that night. And then we got married the next day. And, yeah, it we got up and we went to the pool, and it was amazing, you know? It was just a really, really good day, and it was fun. It's crazy how intense it is around weddings, you know, like, it's just crazy, like, you know, like other stuff, you know, that happened during the week. I mean, there was like one day earlier in the week where we like really kind of argued a little bit, and I looked at him and I said, we can't do this week, you know, and he was like, no, we can't, and it was a petty argument, and it was actually literally at Mandalay Bay as like we were getting ready to write our vows, and it just was like, you know, that's where today I really firmly believe that when you start arguing, it's like not allowing, you know, like if you start fighting, if there's a point when the fight has you, like you've stopped arguing, you don't even remember what you argued about anymore. We were in Las Vegas, Nevada for 11 days. We had one argument, and it was the best trip. I'm so afraid to touch this. It was the best trip I think we've ever had. 11 days in Las Vegas. So needless to say, oh my God, you guys, do you know what I just figured out, I think? Is that when I move the remote behind there, it hits the screen. But anyway, that is why I am so excited to go with my husband this week. And, you know, somebody asked, they were like, somebody asked in the comment section, are you guys renewing your vows? We're not renewing our vows. I think I mentioned this last night. We really want to do that somewhere big deal, like Fiji or Thailand, you know, something really cool like that. But I think, like, just celebrating our 10 years together, like, Alex got real emotional about it tonight. He's like, he goes, you know, I love you so much. He's like, we were like in bed with the dogs, and Boo Radley's crawling all over me because he's scared to death of the rain, you know? And Alex was like, I just can't believe it's been 10 years, you know? And so I think that this trip will be good, you know? It's like, we're back there again, and we're doing fun stuff, and we're going out and seeing shows, and I mean, I'm really excited about it. Like, we're doing it big. Like, we're gonna have a good time. I'm really excited. He was talking about shopping today. I was like, I don't want to do shopping out there. I mean, I will one day if you want to, but like, that's not my thing. Like, I mean, we can do like a half a day, but I want to lay out at the pool, you know, enjoy the day, take a nap, get a little late lunch, you know, maybe go out that night. I'm really excited to do all that, so. I don't usually ever, to be honest with you, get excited about going out in Las Vegas. Like, I know a lot of people, like, you see it in all the reality shows, and their thing is, like, they want to go to Las Vegas to, you know, and maybe it's because I don't drink, but I have to be honest with you, like, the very first time I ever went to Las Vegas was with my ex, and, like, I can remember so many people were like, are you afraid to go to Las Vegas? Are you afraid to go to Las Vegas? Are you afraid to go to Las Vegas? And I was like, I don't know, like, I almost was more afraid about the drinking because everybody else was bringing it up. Like, I hadn't really even thought about it. I've never, ever, like, I mean, at 20 plus years, I don't really, it's not like that for me with the drinking, if that makes sense. Like, do I think every once in a while it'd be kind of fun to have a drink? I'm like, yeah, sure, but then the tape plays about that quick through my head, and I'm like, okay, yeah, how fun would it be to lose everything that you have in your life too? Because that could be a really good option, or opportunity, not opportunity, option. That could be a really good turnout for what might happen if you drank. So, you know, my tape plays through my head really quick today. But like, Las Vegas is literally an adult playground. I mean, I know that they've really like kitted up the last couple years, but I mean, it's really like this place to go. There's casinos and adult shows, and it's so fun. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know, the strip clubs and all that stuff, which there's there too, but I'm talking about it's like Disney World but for adults. I always thought, until I had to go with my friend to get a new cell phone, and but we were like some part of Vegas I had never been to before. Reminded me of that movie Leaving Las Vegas, but I have always thought Vegas was very, very clean, and I'm just so excited about it. I feel like I was talking about something and I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. I was saying that, I've never really, like, the drinking in Las Vegas has never bothered me. It really hasn't, you know, and it just doesn't. Not any more, any less than it would bother me somewhere else. You know, honestly, like, the place that it bothers me the most is, like, here in town when I go out, because it's like, I don't know. Most of my friends just don't drink heavy, you know, and Alex just doesn't drink that heavy anymore. I mean, every once in a while he will, but, like, he just doesn't, you know. I mean, he's going with his friends to Nashville because that's the last stop on his friend's road trip home. I'm sure they'll live it up out there, you know, but he's so considerate of me, so it's like, he just doesn't really. The drinking in Vegas hasn't really ever been that big of a deal for me. It hasn't really ever bothered me. I don't know, I almost kind of, like, it's everywhere. It's so prevalent that I almost don't even notice it, if that makes sense. But I will say this, like, in the past, I've never been super excited to go out, like, you know, to clubs and hear DJs, in Vegas this is, or to go out to, like, the gay bar there, Piranha, that we went to when we got married and stuff like that, because we went out there with because Alex's friend took us, like, to all the little local gay bars. We had such a blast that night. Oh my God, we had so much fun. He took us to this restaurant called Dragonfly, and it was like this tapas restaurant, and it was like so, oh my God, like, it was just decorated so cool. And we went there, and then we went to some gay bar that was like country western line dancing, and then we went to Piranha. I think I've been to Piranha twice in my life. And there's a couple other, I think Crave is there, which is a gay bar. But, like, I've never, like, really wanted to go or been excited about going out. And, you know, what's interesting is I'm the heaviest right now that I've ever been going to Las Vegas. And for some reason, I don't really care. Like, I just don't. I'm like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna lay out at the pool, I'm gonna lay my fat ass by the pool, I'm gonna enjoy my time, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna try to dress as cute as I can. I'm not gonna worry about this stuff. You know, I'm just not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna have a good time. There's no reason for me to get overstressed. It's not like I can lose 10 pounds in 2 days anyway, you know what I mean? So, I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. I'm so excited just to spend 5 days with my husband, you know? And I love hotel rooms. I love sleeping and living in hotel rooms for a week. God, if we could stay for 2 weeks, I would be totally fine with that. So anyway. All right, you guys. Well, that's the story. What's that song from Beaches? That's the story of, that's the glory of love. All right, you guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow as I prepare to head out to Las Vegas, Nevada. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.